One of the questions that I get a lot from clients is, can passive aggressive behavior in a partner count as emotional abuse? And the answer is yes, it can, when it gets severe. Sometimes, most of us have passive aggressive tendencies from time to time. We may pout, we may give the silent treatment, things like that. But it might be once or twice, and it's usually when you're first married, because most adults who are emotionally mature grow out of passive aggressive behavior. They're able to talk about how they feel. But if those adults grew up in families where anger was explosive, they saw one partner try to run away, there was a lot of yelling, the other partner would yield, kind of shut down, basically didn't take a stance, wasn't able to show the children how to resolve it by words, saying, I'm angry, and having the other partner say, let's talk about that, or have the other partner face that anger instead of trying to run away from it or trying to shut it down. Then what happens is those children grow up to be adults who don't understand how to express anger. And so what they do is they basically behave in a way that you know they're upset, but they're not mature enough to tell you. So what are signs of passive aggressiveness? Because I think it's first of all important that we talk about what's more common. And this kind I wouldn't necessarily say is emotional abuse unless it's intense and it's gone on for days, and every time you have a conflict or an argument, this happens. The first of these is the silent treatment. The silent treatment can be really mean. When you won't talk to your partner or you won't sit down and discuss things, go through things, that's a form of punishment. You're basically punishing your partner because you're unhappy. I would say silent treatment and eye rolling go in this same category, and they're both forms of passive aggressiveness. Subtle insults, like when you're out to dinner and your partner insults you in some way. They jokingly say something or they talk about something inappropriate. Those are forms of passive aggressiveness. And basically, they're doing it because they want you to know that they're in charge. They're in charge and they're feeling angry or resentful about something else. Sometimes it's not necessarily you. Sometimes it's something that happened at work, but they're taking it out on you. They're projecting it onto you. Maybe you said something earlier that they weren't able to confront and talk to you about and tell you of their displeasure. So they put a little jab in when they're saying comments. And you can look for this. Actually, you probably know it because it doesn't feel good being out with them. Because they'll always say, well, I was joking. Remember, passive aggressiveness has to be, that the person that says that has to be defensive. They're basically always on the defense because they're not able to say how they really feel directly. They're afraid of it. They don't have the skills, so they have to do it hidden. And this is why it comes out the terrible way that it does. The third thing, if they get sullen, many people who are passive aggressive will also pout, or they'll just kind of retort. They'll say, oh, it's nothing. I was just busy. But really, they're sulking. The next one is stubbornness. People who are passive aggressive are incredibly stubborn because they won't change their mind. In other words, it's like they kind of have a constant rebelling. And most of them are rebelling from their family of origin. But until they understand that, until they're able to say, oh my God, this is baggage from my original family, and I have to deal with it and resolve it, they're going to carry it around. And whoever is with that person is going to get it, but their significant partner gets the most. And that's how it can become abusive. If you do that for years and years, your partner starts withdrawing and they don't want to be around you. I've seen this aspect of passive aggressive spoil really good marriages, marriages that could potentially be fantastic, because you can't be a team member with someone who's passive aggressive because they're not emotionally mature. And until they decide they need to do that to step up, they will continue that pattern. That stubbornness locks them in. And lastly, a failure to finish required tasks. Like they'll say, I'm going to do this, but the follow through is really bad, or they don't finish it. Another form of passive aggressive. They want to show you that they don't have to do what you say. They're rebelling. It's all under the category of that. And so if you have a partner who starts things and then kind of walks away from it or promises you they'll do it and they don't, that is a form of passive aggressiveness. So what do? You usually end up not trusting them and not really expecting them to follow through. So the trust is eroded, and this is another way it can harm your relationship. So what works as a partner of someone with passive aggressiveness? Well, the first thing I'm going to tell you is it's up to your partner who's passive aggressive to step up and say, okay, I can see where this is unresolved. I can see where this is hurting our relationship, and I am willing to work on it. If you can get that far, then there's a good chance that you can really work on this issue and accept it. But until they can step up, you're usually in this battle where you're trying to help them see the light, and they refuse because remember, they're stubborn, they're passive aggressive, and they don't want to see your light. They want to rebel because they're still in that childlike mindset, except they're an adult now. Identify what the passive aggressive behaviors are. That really helps. Like you can list them and you can actually bring it to a relationship talk. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I think having a relationship talk every once in a while is really important. And then if your partner is able to see it, they can help by saying they see it. Then it's going to be more helpful for you to learn to accept that there's going to be these areas that are weak in the relationship, and you're going to have to address them thoroughly and talk about them so you won't be disappointed every time you see it. Don't justify their actions, but as much as you don't justify it, you don't say, okay, it's okay, you don't try to find a reason why they did that, because they are going to find a reason. They're going to tell you every defensive reason. But rather, it's important that you say, listen, I get that you need to defend yourself, but it was hurtful to me. When you're able to tell them how it felt on your end, sometimes you can motivate some of them that are ready to make a change into doing that. And lastly, create boundaries and communicate your boundaries to your partner. Telling your partner, I didn't like this, and I'm not gonna stay if you're gonna do this next time. I'm thinking of the subtle insult one. If they do this and you tell them that really hurt my feelings, I don't like that. If you do that again, I'm gonna get up and leave. Or if you do that again, I'm going to make a vow to myself, I'm not taking you out with these people anymore. I think things like that are very helpful because you're telling your partner exactly what's going to happen. They do have control over those things, but many times they're so angry, and the only way they can satisfy that anger outlet is to do the passive aggressive thing. It takes someone emotionally mature to say, you know what I'm doing is hurting my partner, and I'm going to do something else next time. And they kind of plan ahead, and then you'll see those changes, and it's really enlightening. It makes you feel good as the partner too. If this video is helpful to you, please subscribe. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you so much.